If you want to get rich, you need to start by looking like you're not. Consider Mark Zuckerberg. He lives in a modest home and often wears a simple hoodie. Or look at Warren Buffett, who lives in the same house he bought in 1958 and dresses in basic clothes. Even Steve Jobs was known for his black turtlenecks and jeans, despite his immense success. These well-known figures choose modesty for strategic reasons. I'll explain why this approach can be so effective and share 3 steps to start adopting it yourself. So, let's start with the first reason. Different people see money in completely different ways, and that mindset shapes how they live their lives. Poor people often think of money as something to just get by with. They focus on survival, like paying rent, groceries, and bills, always thinking, how do I make it through this month? You'll often see people in this situation taking out payday loans or using credit cards to cover daily expenses, which only traps them in a cycle of debt. Middle-class people tend to see money as a way to be comfortable, and they work hard for it. They want a good job, a nice house, and maybe a car that shows they've made it. But they also fall into the trap of working for money instead of making money work for them. For example, they might finance a shiny new car with a big monthly payment. It looks great on the outside, but that payment eats into money they could be using to invest or save for the future. Wealthy people, on the other hand, see money as a tool to build more wealth. They focus on creating income streams and buying assets that grow over time. Take Warren Buffett, for example. Despite being one of the richest people in the world, he still lives in the same house he bought in the 1950s, and he's famously frugal. Instead of spending his money to look wealthy, he invests it to create even more wealth. While the poor and middle class might be focused on immediate comfort or maintaining appearances, the wealthy are playing the long game, focusing on building financial security and wealth over time. All right, here's the second reason. Trying to look rich can quickly turn into a spending spiral if you fall into the trap of keeping up with others. We call this the keeping up with the Joneses effect. But today, it's not just about your neighbors. Social media is a huge culprit. You're scrolling through Instagram, and what do you see? A friend just posted pictures of their fancy vacation, or maybe they got a new car, and you start thinking, maybe I need that too. Suddenly, you feel like you need to match their lifestyle, even if it means stretching your budget. Research shows that in communities or even friend groups where one person starts to spend more, the people around them feel pressure to keep up. For example, imagine your best friend just bought a new car. You don't need a new one, but you feel like yours is outdated in comparison. Before you know it, you're at the dealership, signing up for a loan with a hefty monthly payment. But guess what? That car payment isn't just draining your cash, it's pulling you further away from your long-term goals like investing or saving for the future. I've definitely felt that pressure before. When you see someone else's new gadget or vacation, and for a moment you think, maybe I should do that too. But every time you spend money to keep up, that's money that could have been used to build your own wealth. Let's talk about reason number 3. Constantly comparing yourself to others can take a real toll on your mental health. You know how easy it is to hop on Instagram or TikTok and see everyone's highlight reel, their perfect vacations, fancy dinners, and new gadgets. It makes you feel like you're behind or not as successful. But here's the thing. When you're always measuring yourself against others, it creates feelings of inadequacy and anxiety. Social comparison theory backs this up. The more we focus on what other people are doing, the worse we feel about ourselves. And the more stressed we become about maintaining those appearances. It's exhausting, and it's not just bad for your wallet. It's bad for your mental well-being too. That's why you have to shift your focus away from external validation, like impressing others, and focus on your own progress. A great way to do this is by tracking your own financial journey. Start a simple journal where you record your savings, investments, or even debt reduction. Celebrate your own milestones, no matter how small they might seem. This way, you're competing with your past self, not with anyone else. So instead of worrying about what others are doing, it's way more empowering to focus on your own financial growth. But here's another reason why trying to look wealthy is risky. This one might surprise you. Trying to look wealthy can actually end up costing you more in the long run. There's something called price discrimination based on appearance, where people will charge you more if they think you're wealthier than you actually are. For example, imagine you pull up to get your car repaired in a luxury car and designer clothes. That mechanic might assume you have money to burn, and suddenly the quote you get is way higher than it would be for someone who looks more modest. The same thing can happen with home services, furniture shopping, or even dining out. I remember going to buy an appliance once, and I could definitely tell the salesperson was sizing me up based on how I looked. I ended up paying more than I should have. Now I make it a point to look more low-key when I'm out shopping for big-ticket items. Reason number 5. Trying to look wealthy distracts you from what really matters. Building true financial freedom. The more money and time you spend on trying to maintain a certain image, the less you have to invest in your future. Instead of spending on the latest gadgets or the trendiest vacations, think about what that money could do if you invested it. Imagine dropping $5,000 on a vacation that looks great on social media. Sure, it's fun in the moment, but what if you had put that $5,000 into an investment? That money could grow, creating wealth for years to come. Now that we've gone over why trying to look rich can actually hold you back, let's talk about 3 strategies you can use to focus on building real wealth. Step 1. Shift your mindset from spending to building. Start by changing how you think about money. Wealth isn't about how much stuff you can buy. It's about the freedom that comes from being financially secure. So instead of measuring your success by the things you own, measure it by how much progress you're making toward your financial goals. Step 2. Use the box strategy. Here's a cool tool to stay motivated. It's called the box strategy. Imagine you have a box, and each card you put in represents a financial win. One card might represent paying off debt, another could represent building up your emergency fund, and another could be your first investment. The goal? Fill that box with your own achievements. It's a visual reminder that keeps you focused on your journey, not anyone else's. Compete with your past self, not the people on social media. The more cards in that box, the closer you get to financial freedom. Step 3. Implement mindful spending. Be intentional with your money. Every purchase should align with your long-term goals. Before you buy something, ask yourself, will this bring me long-term value or just a momentary satisfaction? By practicing mindful spending, you're making sure that your money is going toward things that build your wealth, not just drain it. So, if you truly want to build wealth, stop focusing on trying to look rich and start adopting the habits of those who actually are. Remember, real wealth isn't about flashy cars or designer clothes. It's about financial security, freedom, and the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're building a stable future. Here's your challenge. This week, take a look at your spending habits and ask yourself, am I buying this to impress others or to improve my future? Start small, whether it's putting an extra $50 into savings instead of spending it on something you don't really need or paying off a little extra debt. These small steps add up over time. If you're ready to take control of your financial future, start implementing these strategies today. Track your wins, compete with yourself, and stay focused on the long-term goal: true financial independence. It's not about how much you spend, but how much you invest in yourself. Now that you understand why looking wealthy won't make you rich, the next step is learning how to actually grow your money. And one of the best ways to do that is by building a diversified portfolio. This helps you spread your risk and maximize your potential returns over time. But there's one common mistake many people make when starting out, and you don't want to fall into that trap. If you want to avoid that mistake and learn how to set up a winning portfolio, click on the video that's on your screen right now. It'll walk you through the exact steps to diversify your investments and grow your wealth the smart way. See you in the next video.